video too. We're gonna do lots of videos.
It's that beeping.
So, what's your website, honey?
It's theintimacydojo.com.
Mm-hmm. And you guys know where to find me. Where in the world's MoniqueDarling.com.
And I'm at awakenbodyandsoul.com.
This is Peter. If you
Peter
don't know.
Peterson. Well, my people may not know.
Yeah.
Him.
So happy Saturday, happy New Year. And we thought that we'd come and talk about something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. And it's about choices and how it can affect your life and really like being able to live life on your own terms. Yeah. So you want to go first?
Sure. We were talking about how we want to give people freedom and we like them to have choice in our lives, but it can be really easy to want to control them to get what we think we need out of it. And we had a wonderful evening last night. It was so much fun. And Monique and Peter are going to the Sharks game tonight, and they invited me along. And part of me is like, oh, I so want to go hang out with my friends, but I'm not a sports fan. Like, it wouldn't be my thing. And I do have things that I want to take care of too. So I made it a choice to not go, but I love that there was no pressure. It was like, oh, sure, if that's not what your thing is, that's cool. Whereas I think a lot of times people want to pull people along to justify what they're doing or to be bigger crowd or whatever it is. There's a need to like, no, you have to come.
Yeah. Because they don't want to miss out. And so I don't want to miss out on my friend, and I don't want to miss out on the game. And like, it's been so nice for me is because those of you that have been following along for a long time, you know, I hated sports. Like, it was to drag me into a sports thing would just be, no, I don't want it. And little by little, then I'd watch Peter's joy of the game and my joy of Peter suddenly started opening up. So I started getting to know these hockey players. Yeah. And so now each of them, like, I have this own personal relationship with, Pavelski scored, and Marlo, he's like the grandfather of the team, and just creating these spaces. And there's just been so much joy of being able to find how that became my thing. But it was because Peter didn't ever force me. He was just like, go watch your show, go do your thing. I'm going to watch the Sharks. And then little by little, I wanted to go watch the Sharks with him. And then I went to my first live hockey game last year, and now it is my thing.
Yeah,
it's pretty surprising
if you tried to make her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty surprising that someone who really does not like sports, like, at all, totally. I mean, she's made a complete 180. I mean, you're really like authentically into it, and it's really beautiful. So.
But I think a lot of that, if you had an agenda or you needed to have her come for your own self-esteem, people don't like to be pushed against, and they put their feet down. They're like kind of push against it. So when we have an agenda, I do a lot of emotional freedom techniques where you tap on acupressure points, and people are like, how do I get my partner to do this thing? And I'm like, first you tap on your need for your partner to do this thing and make it so you don't need it anymore. And then if they change their mind, that's great. But you can't use tapping to try to force somebody else. You can only release your own stuff.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this morning, like Peter and I went to go see the Avengers last year or the year before when it came out. Was it last year? Anyway, then I was so angry at the end. And so here's a spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, then the Scarlet Witch got Hulk to Hulk out. And he only did it because he trusted her. And she justified it because he needed to save the world. And he did. Like, in that case, he really did. But she took his choice away. So how could he ever know if he would have chosen to save the world or not? And I feel like there's so often in our lives, with our children, with our lovers, with our parents, like with our coworkers, if we're the boss, that we feel like the ends justify the means. And I feel like if you do that, you're really doing a disservice to the people in your life, because you're not allowing them to see what their natural choice would be. And I know even when the people in my life that I want to choose me, because that's a high value, like I want to be chosen really badly, but I've really recognized that unless they have every other choice available, then what good is it if them choosing me? Like, it can never be enough. Then they need to choose me in the next moment and the next day and the next year. And it's really down to me choosing myself and giving them the freedom to choose anything else. And then if they choose me,
it's wonderful. Awesome. Yeah. And I think that often when we feel like, Monique, I need you to do this thing with me, if I stop and take a deep breath, there's some story I'm telling myself. And it's really a perfect time for me to kind of examine what my beliefs are, rather than trying to figure out how to force you to do what I want you to do so that I would get past this instance. But okay, tomorrow I might need to have the same experience of like, now I need to force you again. And that's not a relationship. That's cage fighting.
Or codependency. Or
yeah.
Kathleen saying hi to us. Love you, Kathleen. What do you want to add, honey?
That getting an authentic yes is like the best reward in the world. That coercing someone into doing something with you or manipulating someone to do something, it doesn't have the same after effect. I mean, you get like that high in that moment of like, oh, I got them to do what I wanted them to do with me, but that goes away and it becomes this addiction. And who wants to be addicted to having someone be inauthentic to us?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's not something I want to develop or
No.
create. I was wondering, how are the phones ringing?
Because our phones are both right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another piece was even this weekend, then we were talking about like we want to do more collaborations together. And so we put up an event and we ended up not selling enough tickets for us to enjoy teaching. And so we're just like, okay, what do we want to do now? And so that's what we chose to cancel the events and make videos together and really find something that works for all of us. And then Peter gets to go see the Sharks, which how rare is it that we're in the same town? And so often we are in the same town, but we're teaching or we're doing stuff.
We're all
so
doing,
we get to do videos. We got to have this amazing night last night of going to double features of movies and getting to know each other. And so to me, that's recharging your tanks. And that can only happen if you give yourself the option in each moment to get to make a different choice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come from obligation. There's consequences, like even in the Avengers, like the world could have ended.
Yeah.
Like there's can be some dire consequences, and people, that wanted to come this weekend, they could have been disappointed. They might say, oh, well, when is Kathy and Monique and Peter going to counsel? Like, is this event really on? Like, there's consequences, but the joy of us being able to then when we do teach together, it's going to feel so much better because we had the choice.
Right. And we tried to be considerate. We let people know as soon as we realized there weren't enough people. We, gave them notice and offered them options for another weekend. But, we try not to. We try to keep our word, but also being in what is true for us.
Correct. Yeah. So then people will get the best of us when we all do show up.
Yeah.
And it's training people too. Buy your tickets early because we have these great offerings. But we need to know that you're invested in it too, and that what we're offering is important to you also.
Yeah.
So buy your tickets early.
Often.
and root for the Sharks tonight.
Yeah.
Look,
It's fun.
Michelle saying her favorite rule is my favorite rule too. That's rule number 6 is you're encouraged to change your mind.
Yeah.
And this is really what we've been talking about this morning. Because when you give yourself that permission, then all of a sudden every option in the world becomes available. And I know for me personally, I stopped needing to validate my own choices by making someone else choose the same thing.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say?
I think we're good.
This has been your most liked video ever,
Yeah,
Kathy.
it's wonderful.
This is exciting. So stay tuned, and we're making some videos that we will post on YouTube. How we're going to post them and put the
YouTube,
links
yep.
up. Yeah, great. So there'll be some great videos on New Year's intentions and on body image and just all kinds of things that we feel passionate about.
Yeah.
So we hope you'll join us.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, it's
We
a
love
pleasure.
you.
It's such a blast. I love you guys too. It's such a blast to be here.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.